I need somewhere to hide. This will work. Haha! Stupid teachers couldn't find me! Nerd! Ha Kiss my butt! Rockstar became the gaming powerhouse it is today because of their beautifully crafted open worlds, curated from the ground up to feel alive. Whether you're actively exploring or sitting AFK, the worlds they build continue to go on, with or without you. While the characters within the world are often obnoxious parodies of the real world, Rockstar games give you the perfect opportunity to live out your power fantasies. Whether it be an inner city gangster or the rootinest, tootinest cowboy west of the Mississippi. Or at least, those are the ones that come to mind when you think of Rockstar games. But there's one world Rockstar created that nobody seems to talk about. A world I had never explored before I decided to make this video. Today, we're taking a trip to Bullworth Academy, where I can live out my power fantasy of kissing all the babes, barely passing geography class, and absolutely taking over the entire school. We're taking a look at Rockstar's forgotten game, Bully. In Bully, you take the reins of 15-year-old Jimmy Hopkins, a troubled teen getting a fresh start at Bullworth Academy. After being kicked out of 7 previous schools, Jimmy gets dropped off at the boarding school as his mom and new stepfather go off on their honeymoon. Ahead of us is an entire school year full of classes, missions for other students and teachers, a nice hobo that teaches us some kick-ass moves, and a climb to the top of high school popularity. Our time at Bullworth Academy does an incredible job at actually feeling like you're progressing through a school year. Early on in the story, it's Halloween, where all the students around campus are dressed for the occasion. Then we make it through winter, where you receive a Christmas gift and campus is covered in snow. And eventually the snow melts as spring hits and we get closer to the end of the year. The first friends Jimmy makes at school are a timid, introverted kid in Pete and an absolute ADHD lunatic in Gary. Gary is incredibly manipulative from the very start and uses us to do his bidding, while Pete is just a nice kid trying to fit in. As you progress, it's no surprise that Gary double-crosses us for no apparent reason other than to feel like he outsmarted us, and Pete remains our only true friend throughout the entire game, always looking out for us even when our arrogance becomes a little too much to handle. Shout out Pete, you're a real one. After having played Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead Redemption, it was interesting to see Rockstar's take on a more reserved world, where the stakes were much lower. It would be pretty ridiculous for a 15-year-old high schooler to constantly be in life or death situations at a private boarding school. The Sandbox reflects that reality, and I feel like it forced Rockstar to get creative with the tools they provided. Instead of guns, Jimmy has more light-hearted weapons like a slingshot, marbles, firecrackers, bottle rockets, and my favorite, the potato gun. Instead of soliciting prostitutes on the dirty street corner, Jimmy is buying flowers and chocolates for the pretty and not so pretty girls in school in hopes for a few smooches in the school hallway. Rather than climbing the hierarchy of organized crime, Jimmy's just trying to navigate the social constructs of being the new kid at a snot-nosed boarding school, slowly gaining popularity as he makes his name known. Bully is broken down into chapters, with each focusing on different cliques within the school. Chapter 1 begins with Jimmy taking on the school bullies and defending the nerds, and ends with Gary betraying Jimmy and forcing him into the octagon with the leader of the bullies, Russell. After taking out the leader, the bullies have been conquered, but unfortunately Gary gets away. From there we take on the preppies, the greasers, the jocks as we slowly conquer each group and become the self-proclaimed leader of the school. Each group is a parody cranked up to 11. The leader of the bullies is an ogre of a human that has barely figured out the English language. The nerds are busy peeing their pants and asking Jimmy to sneak explicit pictures of the cheerleaders. The preppies are usually off on their own, flexing their parents' money and more or less thinking they can do whatever they want. The jocks are busy bullying the nerds and going after the cheerleaders. And the greasers hang around the shop in their leather jackets and slicked back hair. The teachers are more of the same, with the alcoholic English teacher, the disgusting old cook lady, and of course the creepy gym teacher who sent you on a mission to collect the dirty underwear from high school girls for his own personal use. As a high school student, it's important to keep up with your studies. But when it comes to classes, it was pretty hit or miss for me. It was a nice throwback to jump into geography or English and being forced to cheat off my phone like I was back in high school again. These word scrambles were no joke, and who the hell can actually place all these Asian countries on a map? Shop and chemistry were kinda lame, just being timed button presses. Music was also timed button presses, but at least it made sense there, and it made me feel like I was playing some sort of makeshift Guitar Hero. But I like how they structured biology. I never actually had to dissect anything in high school, so it was cool getting to do it here. The minigame of getting through the animals was interesting, and I felt accomplished when I succeeded. Math was simple enough, but some of the questions were just dumb. I guess they didn't want it to be too repetitive with 5 classes of constant math problems, but in what world is a picture of 4 objects and asking which is bigger a math problem? The art minigame was interesting as well, but I'm not sure that's how you draw a portrait. And just like my actual high school days, I loved absolutely running shit in gym class. But considering we're a degenerate high school student, we don't even need to go to class. Just make sure none of the faculty see you around during class hours or they'll nail you for truancy. It is beneficial to go to class though, as completing classes unlocks perks and new weapons. Plus, I felt good helping Jimmy graduate high school. The missions in Bully were a great mix of high school hijinks, funny social situations you'd expect at a boarding school, and some straight up absurd debauchery. They give you a unique variety of things to do and kept me invested in life at Bullworth Academy. It was cute going on a carnival date and trying your best at the carnival games to get enough tickets to get your girl a teddy bear. But then you have absurd shit like when you have to collect perfume, candy, and some sedatives for Edna, the hideous lunch lady, to take the chemistry teacher on an unsuspecting date. Pretty sure I'm an accomplice for a good old graping here. These missions are much different than the lighthearted fun of Halloween where you're just running around pranking kids in costumes. Throwing eggs and stink bombs, sticking the classic kick me sign on people, and just being a kid. It was sort of a breath of fresh air seeing what Rockstar came up with while being limited with the setting and characters. You also had alternative avenues to try and make some money. You can cut the grass at a park or lawns at homes, and even pick up a paper route. It's hard surviving out here as a high schooler, and I remember the hot summers of cutting grass just to be able to blow money on video games. Jimmy Hopkins is just a young G trying to make it, and the hustle never stops. I would like to find out who his clients are though. Whose grass have you ever cut where they're okay with you only mowing 70% of the lawn? Although high school me would definitely be doing 100% of the lawn every time for that extra cash. Oddly enough, my favorite mission was when trying to unlock the nerd hideout. You had to beat their high score in Con Sumo. It was a goofy game you'd find in your dentist office or local arcade, but I sat there for longer I'd like to admit trying to beat their high score. I failed multiple times close to beating it, and I had one of those moments where I forgot what I was doing. I was no longer playing bully, I was competing against a group of friends to try and best their score in a random game. And I was not leaving until I had that high score. Obviously I couldn't leave until I had the high score if I wanted to unlock the hideout, but at that moment I completely forgot I was playing a game inside of a game, and that type of immersion is something I value heavily in video games. The final chapter has Jimmy ruling the school and thinking everything's going great. He completely ignores our only true friend Petey, who's trying to tell Jimmy that there's a problem. Gary is up to something, but Jimmy doesn't seem to care. We go out on a final prank to graffiti the town hall, and when getting back to school, we realize that all hell is broken loose. All the cliques have suddenly turned on Jimmy. The library ends up full of rats, the gym's set on fire, Johnny Vincent disappears, and someone breaks into the boxing club in Old Bullworth Vale and steals all the preppies' boxing trophies. We go off to find the townies behind all these weird events. But when we return with our findings, we are expelled from Bullworth Academy. Gary snitched on us for writing the graffiti on the town hall. While expelled, Jimmy conquers the townie leader, and in the meantime, a full-on war is broken out at Bullworth Academy between all the cliques. We show up and take down each clique leader one more time. And then we have our final battle with Gary on the scaffolding of the school. As the battle nears its end, we eventually fall through the scaffolding into the principal's office. He overheard Gary's gloating, reinstates us, and expels the conniving Gary from Bullworth Academy. The day is saved and Jimmy is once again at the top of the food chain. It was quite the rise, fall, and rise again of Jimmy Hopkins. Bully was truly a unique experience, and I encourage anyone who hasn't tried it to give it a go. The PC port was kinda rough though, as I had multiple and continuous crashes, resulting in me saving after literally every single mission to try and avoid losing progress. But I guess that's what happens when you play a game from 2006 that was made for Windows XP. I would suggest maybe finding an Xbox 360 version for best results. But regardless of the poor performance, the gameplay speaks for itself, and it makes me sad that Bully never got a sequel. There are rumors that a sequel was in the works in 2009, and there was even 6 to 8 hours of playable game, but the project was shelved to work on Red Dead Redemption and Max Payne 3. The sequel was reportedly ambitious, with Rockstar hoping that the sequel would bring the series up to par with some of its other big releases. One dev said, quote, "There was a lot of focus on character, very deep systems, seeing how far we could push that and putting it up there alongside a GTA," end quote. Hearing this genuinely makes me sad. Although it took me almost 20 years to give Bully a try, it was really something different from other Rockstar games. And I think given the chance, Bully could have been a huge franchise the gaming community highly anticipated sequels for, just as the likes of GTA. Unfortunately, it seems we'll never find the true potential of Bully. Although seemingly a dead franchise, at least there's one game we can always go back to for some schoolyard tomfoolery. I just wish Bully got more recognition, because I found it to be the best Rockstar game that nobody talks about.
Oh my god, I need somewhere to hide. This will work? Stupid teachers couldn't find me? Ha ha! Nerd! Oh. Oh my god. How bad was that?